Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Chest of Obscurity. This time we are going way back to a time in which it was better, it was simple, it was pretty damn awesome for what it was worth. The 80s. And this title, in which very few remember, but we still got a piece of it in some fashion or form in some other way. Well, this series was brought to us by a name that we know and we hardly have ever heard from ever again. And that is Compile. So, without further ado, it's time to present this madness that I brought to the madness. Aleste, brought to us by Compile of 1988, reprogrammed by Sega of the same year. Of course, this was the first of many games that brought about such titles as Blazing Lasers, and The Guardian Legend. Yep, you heard that right. You heard that piece? That's where it came from. Aleste is pretty much the forgotten of all shooters because of the title alone. And everybody actually recognizes this. They should recognize it. If you remember certain games like MUSHA and well, let's just say if you remember MUSHA, Gun-Nac, they were all done by the same company. Excuse it for being framey and putting it on the old emulator. But if you ever wonder whatever happened to what exactly happened to Compile, Compile ceased to exist after some of their employees went on and create a new company, in which you may have heard of because of what they were able to make later on. This company was called Raizing, with a Z, not an S. Now, I won't explain the plot because the plot is as anime as you can get. I mean, the plot itself sounds like it came straight out of Get a Robo. And you're probably wondering, well, what does this have to do with the feature that I'm starting? Well, during the 90s, or probably before that, I mean, during the rage of the anime boom, and for what it was worth, there were a lot of anime plots that featured a mad supercomputer hell-bent on destroying all of humanity because it had a god complex. And usually with a god complex, that's what usually happens. The god complex kicks in and it takes one lone maverick to take it down. We've seen it so many times. We've seen it so many other times in so many other anime. I mean, we've seen it in Get a Robo. We've seen it in Macross Plus. We even seen it in Black Magic M66. Practically, you've seen this trope so many times, it's just become, in a word, typical. Give me a moment. When it was brought over here, it was dubbed as Power Strike. It was only when the Sega CD came out that we actually get its actual title, which is Aleste. It's just like with, say, Konami with Gradius, Salamander, you know, Gradius, period. They didn't really make a Gradius until right after Scramble. And that was their first, that was their first shooter. If you never heard of Scramble, that was their first shooter. Just like this is Compile's first shooter. But because of Compile, though, we would not have such titles as The Guardian Legend, Gun-Nac, and even blazing lasers, otherwise known as Gun-Nac. Now, have you seen me play a couple of shooters before on this channel? Now, what brought this on with this story? The guy's girlfriend, I believe her name was Yuri. She wasn't killed, but she was injured. The computer that got itself a god complex. It wanted to wipe out all of humanity. But like I said, we've seen this trope before. We've seen it, and the biggest trope of them all, MD guys. If you're not seeing MD guys is just straight up what badass is supposed to be. This also reminds me of Star Soldier in a way. Because the bosses here just remind me so much of something straight out of Star Soldier, which was a Hutchins shooter. Now you're probably wondering, am I getting a cold? No. A lot happened earlier today. Scraped my leg. Hurts like the dickens, but I'm okay. And this all happened in Compton, of all places. Don't know what happened. But as you can tell, so many things you've seen from other games. Like the timer, 1943. The different types of weapons you've seen in Gun-Nac or blazing lasers, Gun-Nac. I think I've seen a bit of it in Image Fight too. As I mentioned before, how does this play in with the theme of anime and the like? Well, it does play a theme in with anime because, for one, how many anime you've seen that had this trope before? besides what I mentioned, you know, with MD Geist and whatnot. And it is what it is. You know, it is basically one of the oldest tropes in the history of tropes. Charge beam. I mean, you've seen it all. You've seen the charge beam. The spread, you've seen the regular laser beam. That's straight from Gun-Nac. That's where Gun-Nac got to do all these things. I mean, like I said, you've seen it all before. And this is the game that actually started it all for Compile. It spawned about, including the titles I mentioned, we're talking about at least 16 games. And yes, you can do this. It's probably the best thing to do because, you know, you combine firepower, it makes you stronger. Of course, if you played any other shooter, yeah, it's like that. The wandering wave, I like to call it. Because it wanders, as you tell, by the direction you go. You know, by Master System standards, I have to say, this game is pretty damn impressive for a time it came out. Now, if I was playing blazing lasers, I would be using the homing laser. It is so choice. think I've heard so many people whine and bitch about so many games. It's just crazy. Especially RPGs. Bonus. And that was only a mid-boss. So many later shooters got the same treatment as this one. A lot of what I'm saying are basically later scenes you'll see from other games. Like this, Guardian Legend. Now, what I'll do is I'll write out the plot as to what the story is about. But another trope that this game features is that they always have the following: a red-headed female, or rather, if not a red-headed female, it's green. She becomes the pilot, and if it's not female, it's going to be a male. It's going to have something to do with saving a world from an evil empire. And the weapons are always going to be the same. And the boss is always going to be the same. Any kind of laser, it will tear through anything, like a hot knife through wood. Let me turn it down just a tiny bit, because I think it's a little bit too loud for my taste. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes. What you're basically doing, destroying everything. Leaving nothing standing. You know what I kind of miss from anime? Just And honest to goodness, good versus evil storyline. I mean, anime these days, it's just like with Marvel and DC. It's like there's just no certain side. It's like, oh well, you see, this is how it is. No, it ain't how it is. Like, there's always been two sides. There's been good versus evil. Until, you know, realism stepped in and just say, you know what? Mid-boss. You know what? Let's change up the... Let's just fuck up the spectrum, you know? And with certain characters being, you know, certain exceptions, like, say, Deadpool. Deadpool's an exception to this rule because he's seen some shit. The only way he can actually keep his sanity is by actually becoming as stupid as possible. He himself had to become insane in order to keep his sanity. In that regard, you gotta respect Deadpool for that principle. Because sometimes you don't have to take life seriously. You just have to know where you stand. And sometimes randomly kick a Nazi in the face, like Captain America. If not that, kick a douchebag in the face. Hell, Kaneko buster his ass if you really don't like the dude. Hell, why not just go German suplex? You know, well, why not? This is how you really go by fast with this game. Just hold both fire buttons, tear ass all over the place. Goodbye, mid-boss. But yeah, that's what I really miss from anime. That's what I actually miss from Marvel Comics, DC Comics. I miss the standard good versus evil storyline. That was long before, you know, principles. Like, okay, first off, if you're a hero, you should already know your principles. You should know your limits about taking the law in your own hands. Because that's what differs from being a vigilante. because vigilantes take things ultra personal, like Frank Castle. I mean, yeah, Frank has never been the same since the Mafia wiped out his family. He could never be in a relationship because of that. I don't think he wanted to be in a relationship because he has that unwavering fear that if he does, it's going to happen to him a second time. Now, it's about the same thing with every other series. And recently, I've been reading Rurouni Kenshin, number 7 of 9. And I have the big version of the manga, where it covers like 7 to 8 volumes in one book. An omnibus, if you will. It's one of the few things I like to do in my spare time is, if I'm not doing anything, I like to read. It's a lost art. I mean, pretty much the whole game is just this. You're fighting the computer defense system. As you get closer and closer to the computer that pretty much wants to bring humanity to an end. Again, I apologize if the frame rate is just all choppy as all get out from time to time. Again, this emulator is old, but it can still play 32X with no problem. Oh, one of the videos I did was an Aleste game. It's called Space Megaforce. I think we're almost near the end of this game. So I guess this could be the Chest of Obscurity Kamikame edition. Because for the most part, this game just reminds me so much of anime. It's just not even funny. There's so many things that was 80s about, you know, classic anime. You just can't say no to it. And you wonder why people just like the 80s more than they like back in the day. Or if not the 80s, what they grew up with. The times were simpler. That's the only reason. The times were simpler. And all it was about was, you know, doing the right thing. Even though if the right thing wasn't always considered to be the right thing. Like during a time that, the wars were coming out during, Vietnam. Saying killing is wrong. To this very day, we're still somewhat conflicted by that. But I think we're seeing a bigger concept of it. Like, we're seeing the fact that wars are at a point, you know, useless. Like, we shouldn't be having this. Yeah, you're right. We shouldn't be having wars. We should be wanting to bring our people home. A war that simply no one's ever gonna win. Not as long as money exists. I mean, for us 80s babies, well, it was all about knowing right from wrong. And knowing is half the battle. And knowing that the other half was kicking ass. It was basically just that. For what this game is worth, though, it really does make you think, though. Like, I'm one of those people who just don't whine about anything, like say, video games. I play video games to take the strain off of life. To not think about the frustration and the wear and tear that life will give you. Reason sometimes I would take a break from doing some video games, especially RPGs. They sometimes feel like they're dragging, so I had to, you know, take a deep breath and just say, you know what, let me play something else. Slap on the cheeks, enjoy a game, and just, you know, Let it fly. I feel a sense of kinship with this game. To basically destroy everything that ever existed about this game. Just to destroy everything that is everything. And just go ahead and whip this game's ass for all it's worth. That's why I like playing video games. Yes, I'm from the old school, which I don't care about achievements. Never cared about the achievements. Achievements were just a bonus. I ain't about the speed run because speed run is just about showing off. That's all it is. Like I said, I'm from a simpler time, in which all you did was play a video game and that was it. Play a video game. Whether you won or lost, really didn't matter. As long as, well, you had fun. If it raised anything at all, if it raised your spirit, in some fashion or form, it has done its job. And believe it or not, shooters are basically a shooter to me is just straight up therapy. Because I'm able to talk as much as I want, as long as I can see it, as long as I get through the game. It is technically just, it is what it is. But as far as the series is gone, Aleste is one of those games that will indeed make you think. And excuse the coughing and whatnot. But I feel I am getting over one thing and getting into another. I might be getting a cold. I'm not entirely sure. Bonus. I tend to get lost with shooters. Mentally get lost, you know. It just make me feel really good. There have been a lot of things going on, and you know, it's probably what I need, you know. Now I'm just curious if I'm that close to finishing the game. I think I'm getting my answer. All I'm shooting is eyes of the computer. I do believe right after this is basically the ending we are actually going to see that we've been waiting for so long to get to. Yep. Bonus. And there you have it, folks. That was Aleste, otherwise known as Power Strike, for the Sega Master System. For what it was worth, 50 minutes. In all, it was, yeah, mission complete. The music, of course, was impressive for its time. Especially for it being a Sega Master System game. That just says quite impressive. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining me for this episode of the Chest of Obscurity Kamikaze Edition. Join me next time when I showcase something else. So once again, I have been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, and this was Aleste for the Sega Master System. And I shall see you next time with even more great content. So until then, take care, God bless, and Dai Tensho! and Dai Tenso! See you later.